When you go hiking out through the meadows, one of the first butterflies you're going to notice is a large orange and black monarch butterfly. Here's the adult feeding on the flowers of the milkweed plant. The caterpillar of this butterfly also feeds on milkweed and no other plant. See the tongue, proboscis, going into the flowers sucking out the nectar. Let's watch the metamorphosis. Here's one of the eggs. These eggs are so tiny underneath of a milkweed leaf, 6 of them would fit on the head of a straight pin. In just a few days after being laid, it hatches into a little tiny caterpillar. There's many different kinds of milkweed. This is the fuzzy variety. And you see the caterpillar eating away. They eat steady day and night for about 10 days. When it grows up, it looks like this. It even feeds on the flowers of the milkweed and the stems. This caterpillar then will stop feeding, and in just a few hours' time, it will spin a silk button on the underneath side of a leaf or a post, and there you see the little silk button. And he's trying to find it, and he's going to hook his hind feet onto it. We'll watch him and he'll turn around. There he is, turned around, and he's going to hang now. This position is called the J position. It looks like a letter J when he's hanging. Inside, the wings are already forming, but the wings won't show yet. But he will have to shed this last skin from the caterpillar stage and turn to a chrysalis, also called the pupa stage. The split of the skin will be near the head, and here is a peristaltic action going on. It's going to push the skin up toward the top. It is split now behind, and the skin is being pushed up. The only thing holding this chrysalis to the stem of the plant is the folds of skin and the segments of the abdomen. There's a little black button on the end of the body called a cream master, like Velcro tape, is going to hook onto the silk button. The old skin is discarded. When that's hanging solidly, then you will shrink up over about 20-minute period, maybe half an hour, into the regular chrysalis form, bright green with gold dots. This has been speeded up here. Now this chrysalis hangs for about another 10 days, and inside the final metamorphosis changes from an egg to an adult monarch butterfly. Let's watch it. On the 10th day, about, depending on the temperature, we'll see a color change, and all of a sudden there are the wings showing through the transparent shell. About 10 o'clock in the morning, that shell cracks open. The adult monarch butterfly is about to appear. If nobody bothers him, he will never fall. There are hooks on the end of his feet that cling on to the old chrysalis shell while the body hangs out and drops out of the casing. Now, the job of this butterfly is to pump a liquid from the body into the veins of the wings. That will expand these wings, and this expansion is going on right here, and this operation takes about a half an hour. That liquid gradually dries in the veins, and the veins give structure or rigidity to the wings. The wings get stiff enough that after a while, this monarch butterfly will open his wings and try to fly. He might rest there for an hour or so. And there's a beautiful female monarch butterfly just emerged. There's lots of other butterflies, some of them bigger than the monarch, but this one here is a little blue, not more than 3/4 of an inch across the wings. Here's one of the skipper butterflies going around the circle of the zinnia flower, stinging its proboscis, its hollow tongue like a straw, down into each little segment of flower and gather nectar. That's the food of the butterflies. When he gets around, he's finished his smorgasbord and away he goes. This is the chrysalis of a swallowtail, the anis. Notice that this one doesn't hang, it sits upright. It sheds its skin, it hangs inside of a girdle of silk fastened to the wood. Several months later, out comes this beautiful anis swallowtail. Found over much of California and the western states. Goodbye. Again, this swallowtail has found something to eat in the milkweed flowers. Here we have a giant silk moth laying eggs at night. The eggs are always laid on the plant that the caterpillar will be able to eat. If the female laid them on the wrong plant, the caterpillars would not eat and they would die. There are about 150 of these eggs laid over a 3 or 4 day period. Here we see the eggs hatching. These eggs are about pinhead size, much larger than the monarch eggs. And here comes the little baby caterpillar. It is quite a struggle. They have lots of hazards in their life. By the time they get this big, maybe a quarter of an inch to half an inch long, they have had many enemies face them, parasites, birds. Now they've shed their skin, they're not blackened anymore. They've shed their skin now 3 more times, and they're in their 4th stage as a larva, called the 4th instar. The caterpillar is now spinning a cocoon, and the chrysalis it makes will be inside this cocoon all winter. This moth is now coming out of its cocoon in the spring. It takes a whole year from egg to adult. Some folks talk about butterfly cocoons. That is false. Only a few moths and no butterflies make cocoons. They all have a chrysalis. Many of the moths are more beautiful than butterflies, but some moths are not. Because of the silk cocoon that it makes, it's often called a silk moth. Here's the adult. Beautiful. This is the California species. This is the Rocky Mountain species. We also have similar ones on the East Coast. There are hundreds around the world of different wild silk moths. This is the Polyphemus caterpillar, and it's going to make a large tan-colored moth. Look at the close-up. There are 3 pairs of jointed legs, and here we see him crawling on a stem. Different species would have a different number of bristles. Near the top, the back of the caterpillar, you see oval-shaped rings with yellow centers. Those are the air holes that give this caterpillar oxygen. It does not have any lungs. Notice the jaws moving side by side against each other like a pair of clippers. They don't move their jaws up and down like you and I do. This Polyphemus moth caterpillar is feeding on dry oak, but somehow he extracts liquid from that. It gives nourishment to his body and also fills his body full of liquid. Let's go to another kind of cocoon. You see this wiggling on the ground? It had been wrapped in leaves. It's going to be another giant moth, sometimes called the most beautiful moth in America, the Luna moth. Luna means moon in Latin. People used to think that moonbeams shining on you made you a lunatic. So this is the Luna moth. It will have over 5-inch wing spread. Let's watch it spread its wings here as it climbs up on an old oak stump. Quite an operation to get hanging and to fill those veins in the wings and expand them, something like blowing up an air mattress. The narrow antenna tell me that this is a female moth. The males have a much wider antenna. Can you see the wings expanding? The minutes are going by. On the underneath wings is a little tip hanging down. It's going to spread all by itself after the big upper wings are finished expanding. These are furry, fuzzy moths, aren't they? Now let's watch the underneath hind wings and the long tails. The Luna moth. The body full of eggs. It will mate the first night, and then the second night will fly around the country looking for the right food plant. These caterpillars of this moth like walnut. Some other trees also. A variety in India looks much like this. Some butterflies have different colored males and female. The female is on the left there. The blue ones are always the males. This little tiny blue butterfly is sucking moisture out of some old charcoal at a campfire pit high in the mountains. Looks like a black butterfly. It's sucking moisture out of the ground too if you look at its tongue, working in the sand. But when it's opened its wings, it's bright orange and black. Probably this one gave the word Mariposa to the county of Mariposa. These were discovered by a Spanish explorer in 1806, and the country was named the country of the butterflies.